enjoyed yesterday. It was short-lived, though, huh?
Big Neil. He's nothing.
Okay. Well done.
Mike, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. You've talked to us through the years about how you expect to see 30 to 35% unscouted looks here in this first month of the season. Will what teams see from you even be a little bit higher based on some of the changes that you've made this offseason?
Well, I think just like anything, the number one change is personnel. 37% of our players, our 75 players in the building is different from last year. So, I mean, part of those things factor, the utilization of new personnel. Obviously, the Giants have new personnel, so that's part of the equation because they're obviously going to, do things that fit their players. No different than us. So, so that's haven't called a game yet, so I can't give you a number. But no, we're naturally going to be different than we were last year. That's the normal process of evolving as an offense or defensive system.
And you talk about that early in the year. Just from your standpoint, from calling plays, does that mean you need to be more adaptable going into a game than you thought if you get different looks, or is it a little different early in the season?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's why you work so hard in the off season. We have a term that we call training camp rules, but this is just like particularly our offense versus their defense. They're high in scheme, so their offense brings a lot of scheme to the table too. So, I mean, you go into it because you want your players to play fast and those types of things, but you have to be proactive with your adjustments. We have an adjustment plan for everything that we do. So, the sideline Sunday is Sunday night's going to be important.
Clarence Hill, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Dak Prescott has been scrutinized since the end of last season. How much do you think he's ready to start this season?
Definitely ready to start the season, no doubt. But I think as a human being, he is extremely focused on each and every day. I think his discipline and approach to life, let alone professional football, is top notch. So I know this. He has definitely taken advantage of the opportunity to learn. Obviously evaluate, and then the implementation of the things anew. I'm really, really impressed with his off-season work preparing for this opportunity. So, yeah, definitely, I would say he's ready to go.
Mike Todd Archer with ESPN. The moving of practice simply because of the heat, and how many IVs did you have to go through?
Didn't get an IV report, but yeah, it was. Yesterday was hot. I mean, yesterday felt like a training camp heat wave type practice. That was one of the hotter practices that that I've been a part of. So yeah, definitely. I mean, just going this morning will be 20 to 25 degrees, cooler. Probably not the right term there. But yeah.
Not you on training camp.
Less.
Oh no! I'm just saying historically, Wichita Falls. Yeah, there you go. So wasn't there, but it felt like Wichita Falls. But yeah, so yeah, definitely that's why we're doing it.
Does it change any of what because of yesterday? You change what you do today. You take stuff out or anything like that?
No, I mean the reality of it, the ability to switch the schedule is just really a reflection of being ahead. Yeah, if we weren't ahead, I would have probably had to move the practice inside or look for other options. But yeah, this is clearly. We were ahead. We were able to flip some things. We flipped the work yesterday afternoon to prepare for the morning, and then so we're still getting the amount of work that we got to get in. So, but it's just we were able to flip it because we are ahead.
John.
John Michaud, The Athletic. When we were out there, Tyler wasn't out there. Tyler Smith.
Yeah.
Was he able to do anything yesterday? And then what's the
plan? My communication with Tyler said he said he feels really good. And the other part of this too. This is his first time through this, so. But he'll work with Britt again today. But he's very optimistic, and we'll just see how it's a return to play process. So there's obviously something there that they're working through.
And then with Brandon Cooks and Dak, talking to Brandon yesterday, you talked about how important their time working on their own together has been and getting on the same page. How have you seen them two grow together?
Well, number one, it's a must, and I just go back to the earlier question about Dak. I don't know if he could have done much more, from internally and externally with the time that he spent in Georgia and the throwing sessions and all that. So And Brandon has just been a tremendous teammate. I've been so impressed with him, just the way he's come in, not only connected with Dak, but just the locker room as a whole. So, but yes, that's been cool to watch.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. With the hot practice yesterday, I just wondered how much more the message was for these guys about hydrating for Sunday now, even though we're still, whatever it is, 3 days out.
I'll tell you what, they go through a lot of water here on a normal day, but walking past the water coolers, after the afternoon meetings, they're empty. So, that was a good sign. But yeah, they're cautious of it, and when also we got the long plane ride and all those things. So we're forecasting those things, and that's part of the reason why we went inside, or why we're doing what we're doing today.
Michael.
Michael Duncan, Dallas Morning News. Probably an obvious question, but how much does going up against this defense make your offense better going into the season?
Well, I think it's an obvious question. I think particularly, the training camp work. Everybody practices a little different. I would not. I would say our practice structure. The ability of how our lines get after each other, as prepared as for this opportunity. I would say on both sides of it. We know. This offense, the Giants, and the offenses that we see all year, their starting points can be, attack our run defense. We understand that. We're top 3 in the league last year for run attempts against our defense, and I think, that'll be the case again this year. So I think the way we work and how we work, particularly the situation focus and the things we did extra this year compared to last year, I think has put us in a good position here to be ready to go.
Patrick.
Hey, Coach. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Without getting into the potential playing time plan for Jordan Lewis, he was a full participant yesterday. How does he look going into his second week?
Jordan Lewis, just an incredible story, for rehab. You talk about a significant injury, and just look to where he was post-surgery, and to see him out there running around the last 2 weeks has just been awesome. So, if you ask Jay Lou, he'd say he's ready to go. So, but I thought he looked good yesterday. I got a chance to watch him some live, but he's definitely getting close.
Calvin.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. At any point during the training camp or even a preseason when you saw Aubrey and said, he's going to be okay, I don't have to worry about him so much?
Well, first time I stood behind him and felt the ball come off his foot, I definitely knew he was going to be okay. But the talent is there. He reminds me of a young Mason Crosby. Because when Mason came into the league, and heck, I hope he has the same start and career as Mason too. Because I think, if I remember correctly, Mason's first game in the NFL, he kicked a walk-off field goal to win the game. So, and he had a big kick in Pittsburgh in a preseason, really long field goal for highest field, because the wind that comes off the Allegheny or the Monongahela, if you're running, it's right there on the river there. But it's I remember Mason making that kick. That's kind of how I felt about him against Brandon against the Raiders. We tried to back out there and gave him two swings at it, 2 long field goals. So no, I feel good about him, because he has an arsenal of kicks, which is important. And I think that in itself shows you, the ability to control the football. So I've been very, very impressed with him.
Clarence.
It's supposed to be 50% chance of rain on Sunday. I don't know if that factors into the decision with Tyler Smith and his hamstring. And can you talk about the options behind Tyler Smith if he can't go, Oslam and Udoga and those guys?
Yeah, we're working those guys. We're working both guys. So, but yeah, as far as Tyler, and not to be a broken record, if he practices Saturday, we'll give him a chance to go. But he has to cross the threshold of practice. So we'll give him every opportunity to do that. And, it's just like, these players want to play. He's no different. So, but it is the first time with this injury. So, you got to trust your medical staff and work that process. But as far as the rain, to me, there's a threshold that they cross to play in the game. And the weather doesn't really factor into that unless it's, some type of extreme situation.
Udoga missed a lot of time in camp, and just talk about where he is there.
Looks good. I much got to watch him yesterday. I'm super competitive. I like the way he works. But yeah, he's off to a good start. I thought he's jumped right in there, and you'd never know that he just arrived there. So, been very impressed with Noah.
John.
Joseph White, Lone Star Left. Mike, you talked yesterday about play action, today new personnel. I guess how challenging does Darren Waller be in that regard?
Well, just obviously a focal point. His catching radius, his athletic ability, yards after the catch, very impressive. So really trying to anticipate how they're going to use him is probably the biggest challenge, because obviously you know what he can do physically. As far as the matchup, but his utilization of where they're lined up and how they use him, that's definitely a focal point for us.
Todd?
Clarence asked you earlier about the Dak scrutiny that he's always under and things. Is that different here than another spot you've been, or is it a product of just the increased media over the years?
Don't you hate when guys ask questions they already know the answer to? Yeah. So, yes, I agree.
I don't know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, no, I think it's obvious. Yeah, I think the intensity of the coverage here is unique, and and that's part of being a Dallas Cowboy, and I think he does an incredible job of keeping that in perspective. It is part of the job description, regardless of how it feels and what it looks like. But I think he handles it extremely well.
Patrick?
Hey, Coach, another injury update. Sam Williams and Donovan Wilson, are both of them on the same timeline?
Yeah, Dono will miss today. He's taking care of a very happy, positive, personal thing he's dealing with right now. So I'll let him tell you that. But Sam will work in the rehab group again today. So.
How many babies have your team had this year?
Hey, like I told him, if you guys figured out what's causing this, I tell you, I got a lot of babies. Family and football, man, that's what we're about. They're definitely coachable. So.
Back to Dak for a minute, because he's Staubach and they've been won championships, and obviously there's been a long drought since those titles. Do you think that's also part of the scrutiny he gets because people look at what happened before him?
I can't speak for for people that are in the mode of critique. There's obviously that's part of our industry, and understandably so. It's part of what makes the wheel go round. So, but I think history and tradition is extremely important. I think it's important for your current team to recognize that, and because I think there's energy from that. Now, I think it's just like anything. Perspective is part of it. I think it's the uniqueness of working in an organization that has an incredible history and tradition. There is a little more extra responsibility. It should make you walk a little taller. But at the end of the day, this is our opportunity. The 2023 Dallas Cowboy, this is our opportunity. So much respect and appreciation, because the teams, the players, the coaches that walked before us are a big part of this, and have given us this landscape to chase our goal. So I do think it's important, and I think it's positive. There's energy from that, in my opinion. I've been spoiled because I've been a head coach at two franchises that have tremendous history and tradition. So, but I do understand that. Yes. It's in the hardest part of the critique component of this industry, it's really your family. We as coaches and players, we get to come in here and bond every single day. It is a tremendous culture. I love coming to work every day. I enjoy these players. I enjoy the support staff and the whole organization. So this is a very healthy environment to work in. So we don't really feel that. I think that's felt more from our families.
All righty. Thank you,
All
Mike.
right, thank you.